Hey, this is Beat Up, and welcome to a new episode of Clearing Out My Head. You know, when non-Americans watch American movies and TV shows, not everything translates. People have questions. Well, BuzzFeed put together a list of things non-Americans don't understand when they see them in our media. And here they are. Number 1, the way we always talk about the last 4 digits of our social security numbers. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really have the last 4 digits of their social memorized, or is this just one of those TV things just to save time? Now, truthfully, I don't know about anyone else, but I know mine by heart, but that's just because I've had to put it on a lot of official documents, so you learn it after a while. Number 2, our obsession with Halloween. Twitter user asked, do Americans really care about Halloween, or is that a TV show Twitter thing? No, some people are into it more than others. I myself am not one of them. Number 3, the use of the word like. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really say like every 10 seconds, or is it a reality TV show thing? Sadly, it's not, although it does appear that the types of people who end up on reality shows are among the most blatant abusers of the word. Agreed. It depends on the person. Not everyone is like that. Oops, there I go. Number 4, school dances. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really have school dances, or is that made up for TV? Now, unless they have gone away from them since I was in school, they're still going on. Number 5, how we always heat up water in the microwave. Twitter user asked, do Americans actually heat up water in the microwave, or is that just in TV shows? No, some people actually still do. Our coffee maker actually has a hot water feature on it, so we don't have to do that unless we are in a rush. Number 6, the way we chew pills. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans chew pills like they're sweets in films? Now, unless it's Pepto-Bismol, Tums, or chewable vitamins, but when it comes to pills, last time I checked, you have to swallow them whole. Number 7, how we never say goodbye when we hang up the phone. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really not say goodbye when ending a phone call? All these TV shows, they just hang up. This is really just an artistic choice. It eliminates needless words. In real life, we say goodbye unless we're mad. Yeah, I don't remember a time that I didn't say goodbye or something before I hung up the phone with someone. Number 8, the way we never take our shoes off when we enter someone's house. Twitter user asked, do Americans really not take their shoes off when they enter a house, or is that just another weird thing from American movies? Now, truthfully, it depends on the house and situation. Now, we have hardwood floors on our main level, so I don't take my shoes off right when I come in. I wait till I put my stuff down and sit down on the couch, then I take them off. Number 9, how we're always eating loads of meatloaf. Twitter user asked, do Americans really eat as much meatloaf as TV makes it seem? That must be like 60% loaf by now, or they must be like 60% loaf by now. I don't know when the last time I had meatloaf, folks. I think I had it when I lived with my parents about 30 years ago. Number 10, the use of the phrase, just get some rest. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really say, just get some rest to each other? It feels like something they only say in films. No, it's not just something that is said in films. Hell, I say it to myself sometimes because I'm always tired. Number 11, the way we call people jerks and douches. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually say words like jerk and douche, or is that just in films? Now, maybe not every American, but those are words that are in our vocabulary. Number 12, the way we eat ice cream out of the tub. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really eat ice cream out of the tub when they're sad, or is that just on movies? Now, I don't know when we're sad, but if I'm the only one who's going to be eating the ice cream, lactose intolerant, I can only eat certain ice cream, I will eat it out of the tub. Number 13, the way we walk out with a box of our crap when we get fired from our jobs. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually walk out with a box when they get fired, or is that a movie thing? Now, unless somebody lives at their job, most of us only leave with what we brought that day, which isn't much. Number 14, how we're always going for dessert. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans in films always go for dessert? Why not just have dessert in the restaurant you were just in? Now, I'm not sure what this user is asking. I think they are asking why we go elsewhere like Dairy Queen or Cold Stone or any other dessert place instead of having it at the restaurant we were at. I guess the answer would be what we are in the mood for dessert-wise. Maybe the restaurant we were at doesn't have a good dessert menu and we wanted to go somewhere that specializes in that, maybe? Number 15, the fake baby school assignments. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually do those project assignments like we see on TV shows and films, like the fake babies getting married to each other and all that? I can't speak for the whole country, but I've never known anyone who had to take an egg or a bag of flour or a baby doll home with them and try to keep them in one piece. Truthfully, I am trying to remember myself if we had to do that in home ec. I can't recall if we did or not, so I have no comment here. Number 16, the way kids play trees and other inanimated objects in school plays. Twitter user asked, do Americans really be having kids play trees in the school play, or is that just a TV thing? Another thing I've never seen unless the tree was a character who had actual lines. I'm in agreement on this one too. I've never been or seen kids play inanimated objects in plays for school. Number 17, the way we compare the length of things to football fields. Twitter user asked, I wish Americans in movies would just stop comparing the length of things to that of a football field. I have no idea how long that is. I get this one, although American football is starting to worm its way into other countries. I get it too. I think someone started it as a joke and it just kind of caught on. So now everyone uses it as a form of measurement because they know what the length of a football field here is in America. Number 18, the way we try to stop natural disasters. As one person tweeted, it amuses me when Americans in movies try to stop a natural disaster ending the world because they're Americans and they just have to try. You know, all I have to say to this is, it's the American way. Number 19, the way we call our dog Pooch. Twitter user asked, do Americans really refer to their dogs as Pooch, or is it just a TV thing? Now, it's probably more of a TV thing because I call my dog either by his name or I call him Pup, but never Pooch. Number 20, the way we grab a cup of coffee. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans on TV shows have to go grab a cup of coffee? Can't see how that could ever end well, especially if the cup is styrofoam. Probably because there's a Starbucks on every freaking corner here, and hey, styrofoam is a bad word over here now, so we use paper cups, or at least we're supposed to. Unless you have your own cup that you carry around with you to fill up at Starbucks. Number 21, all the guns. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans in TV shows insist on owning guns they can't aim? Well, yeah, that's a thing here. That is definitely a thing here. Almost everyone owns a gun. Number 22, the way we call our sons, son. Twitter user asked, do Americans really call their sons, son? Or is that just in TV? It's so weird to me. I don't understand why it would be weird. What do you expect me to call my son? Daughter? Besides his name, of course. Number 23, how we call our dad, old man. Twitter user asked, do Americans actually call their dads my old man, or is that just in TV shows? Now, some of us might call our dads that, but I call mine either dad, or if he won't answer me, I call him father. Number 24, how we have bread rolls with every meal. Twitter user asked, do Americans have bread rolls with every meal? I've been noticing this on various TV shows. And are they called dinner rolls? Now, we don't have rolls with every meal, and depending on what we are having, I will sometimes make dinner rolls to go with it, or if it's a holiday, we will have dinner rolls along with everything else we are having. Also, if you go to most restaurants, they offer you bread with your meal. Number 25, a Twitter user asks, wait, do Americans actually have cheerleaders, or was that just in TV? Now, outside of high school and college, I believe the NFL and NBA teams have cheerleaders, but I think that's where it stops. Number 26, the way we eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Twitter user asks, do Americans actually eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast, or is that just in the TV shows because they're so sweet? Actually, I always thought they were for breakfast. That was the only time I would eat them. I can't think of another time to have them except for maybe a morning snack. Number 27, the way we always flee to Mexico. A Twitter user asks, why do Americans on TV always flee to Mexico? I promise you no one will look for you in rural Quebec. Yeah, I agree with this one too. Unless you live in the south near Mexico, I would rather flee to Canada myself. Number 28, the way we order a beer. A Twitter user asks, why do Americans on TV always just order a beer and always seem to get the one they want? There's a lot of beer. Damn straight there's a lot of beer, and that's the way we like it. Number 29, high school reunions. A Twitter user asks, do Americans actually do high school reunions, or is that just TV shows and movies? No, that's just not on TV shows or movies. It exists here in America. I went to my 10-year reunion, but I haven't been able to go to one since. And we just had my 30th a couple years ago. Number 30, the way we are always watching golf on TV. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really watch golfing on TV? Yes, unfortunately, watching it is huge over here. I remember my dad always watching it when I was growing up. I never understand why people watched it. It's like people who watch bowling. I guess I would rather play it than watch it. Number 31, dissecting frogs. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually have to dissect frogs for school, or is that just a TV thing? Now, I don't know if it's still a thing or not, since it has been ages since I've been in school. I know we had to when I went to school. Number 32, the overuse of paper plates. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans on TV always use so many paper plates? Because it's easier than having to wash a dish. I'm guilty of buying and using paper plates daily. Thank you very much. Number 33, the use of the phrase, how you holding up? A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually say how you holding up, or is that just in films and TV shows? Again, I think this is just another slang term that we use. It's not used as often as you may think. Some people may use it more than others. Number 34, the way we always say people's first and last names. Twitter user asked, do Americans say people's first and last names all the time in real life, or is this just in a film and TV thing? Truthfully, I think it depends on the setting. Maybe if you're introducing yourself to somebody for the first time, you might use your full name. Other than that, most people will just use whatever they commonly go by. Number 35, a Twitter user asks, wait, do Americans actually have Sweet 16s, or is that just in films? Yes, I believe Sweet 16s are still a thing. I know when Gia turned 16, her band was at Disney for something, so she didn't have a Sweet 16 party, but she did have fun at Disney. Number 36, red plastic cups, or solo cups as we call them. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans in films drink booze out of red plastic cups at house parties? Hey, not only do we drink out of them, but there's even a song about them. Number 37, the fact that we're always climbing through people's windows. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans always climb through people's windows in films and etc.? Does this happen in real life? You know, I don't remember ever climbing through anyone's window. That must be done in some areas that I don't know about. Number 38, Chinese takeout boxes. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really keep square boxes of cold, uneaten Chinese food in their fridges, or is this just a lie sold to us by television studios? No, this is not a lie. You sometimes get so much food from Chinese takeout that it becomes 2 meals. I pretty much Plan to eat it like this whenever we get Chinese. Number 39, deviled eggs. A Twitter user asked, do Americans eat deviled eggs as much as the television would lead us to believe? Now, the only time my mom makes deviled eggs is around the holidays. Now, you might see them at picnics, but since I'm not a fan of them, I don't really notice them as much. Number 40, how we're always crying. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans cry so much in reality shows? Now, actually, I found out recently that this is a trick that producers play with the people on these shows. They will find ways to get them upset so they will cry on camera. And as we all know now that a lot of these reality shows are not really reality to begin with. They are more scripted than reality. Number 41, prescription drug commercials. A Twitter user asked, why the fuck do Americans have so many commercials for prescription drugs? Is this normal? Yes, because the drug companies rule all. Number 42, the way we always drink glasses of milk. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really drink a glass of milk with their dinner, or is this just something made up for the movies? Again, it depends on what you're having for dinner. I usually have milk with dessert more than with dinner. I will have either lemonade, iced tea, or soda with my meal. Number 43, yellow school buses. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually go in the yellow school bus in movies to school? Yes, if it's too far for you to walk to school here in America, you take the big yellow bus. I did for many years when I was in school, many, many years ago. Number 44, how we're always sleeping in our underwear. Twitter user asked, do Americans really sleep with just underwear on, or is that just a thing in movies? Some Americans do sleep in their underwear. Hell, some sleep nude. I sleep in shorts and a t-shirt. You sleep in what you are comfortable in. Number 45, frat houses. A Twitter user asked, just a question, do Americans have frat houses, or is it just in the movies? Nope, they aren't just in the movies. Most, if not all, colleges have frat houses of all shapes and sizes. Number 46, all of the PB&J sandwiches. A Twitter user asked, why do Americans always eat peanut butter and jam sandwiches in films? It's funny they said jam and not jelly, but, you know, maybe because it's a staple. I don't know if it sorry, I'm still laughing from the jam part. I don't know if it's the go-to in real life. I prefer grilled cheese, but if I'm on the go, I would say ham and turkey, but that's just me. Everyone is different. Number 47, garbage disposals. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually have garbage disposals in their sinks, or is it just something movies made up, because I refuse to believe they are real? Yes, they are real. Most of today's home builds are equipped with a garbage disposal. It's pretty much a norm here in the States. Number 48, the tiny TVs in our kitchens. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually have tiny TVs in their kitchens, or was that just a thing in movies? Now, I think nowadays the tiny TVs might be obsolete because it's replaced by the smartphone or tablet, but you might find one here or there in older homes. Number 49, sending Christmas card family photos. Twitter user asked, do Americans really take themed photos for Christmas cards to send to loved ones like in the movies? Because that's such a cute thing to me, actually. Yes, people still do it. I still get a few each Christmas. It's not as huge as it used to be maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Number 50, the way we get our mail delivered through a hole in our door. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually have a hole in their door for mail, and people that throw mail on their driveway like in movies? Now, if you live in an older house that has a slot like that, or maybe they live in the inner city, yes, but most people have mailboxes. Actually, nowadays, a lot of subdivisions have community mailboxes instead of individual ones. Number 51, the baby room in the hospital. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really put their newborn babies in that baby museum like they do in the movies? Why? Do you mean the nursery? Yes. It's so that the nurses can monitor the newborns and the new mothers and sometimes fathers can get some rest before they must take their bundle of joy home for their new experience. Baby museum. Number 52, coffee creamer. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really use cream in coffee, or is it just something they do in movies? Like, I ran out of milk and used cream instead, and I felt like someone was laughing at me. Somebody probably was. Yes, there is such a thing as cream in coffee. Actually, nowadays, people get flavored coffee instead of using creamer. Number 53, Christmas caroling. A Twitter user asked, do Americans actually go singing at each other's door on Christmas, or is that some embarrassing movie shit? Now, I don't really hear about it being done door to door anymore, but people may do it at public places like shopping centers where a lot of people will be at. Number 54, the way we start eating or drinking things in the supermarket before paying for it. Twitter user asked, do Americans drink what they're going to pay for in a supermarket, or is that a movie thing? You know, having used to work in a grocery store, I would say yes. More on the eating side than drinking. You know, when I worked in the deli and produce, people would eat food all the time before buying it. Number 55, the way they always ask to thank the chef. A Twitter user said, do Americans really ask to thank the chef for their food directly, or is that only a thing in movies? Now, I think this is more used as a phrase to compliment the cook on a job well done. I have never known anyone in real life who wants to speak to the chef directly. Now, I have had the chef at a couple places come out and talk to us at the table. Plus, when you go to a a Japanese steakhouse, they do cook right in front of you at your table. Number 56, college application essays. A Twitter user asks, do Americans actually have to write essays, guilt-tripping universities to accept them, or is that just in movies? Now, I've never had to write any essays for either college that I attended, but I think my daughter might have when she was applying to college. Number 57, casually chatting on roofs. A Twitter user asked, do Americans really sit on the roof of their house for a chat, or is that just in movies? I don't know of any Americans that will sit on the roof and have a conversation. That's what your porch or deck is for. And number 58, tequila. There's always tequila. A Twitter user asked, do Americans love tequila that much, or is it just the TV shows and movies? Some Americans might love tequila, especially on Cinco de Mayo, but I'm good over here. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Clearing Out My Head. Don't forget you can listen to Clear Out My Head on all major podcasting platforms. Also, you can check out my podcast page on Spotify, where you can listen to past episodes, check out my social media links, or leave me a message. But until next time, this is B-Dub. Thanks for listening, and I hope you will join me next time as I continue with Clearing Out My Head.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!